Everyone, to our esteemed speakers and participants. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of you joining us today for the Global Virtual Exchange Summit in 2025, co-organized by Research Management Office and Virtual Exchange Center from School of Continuing Education, Hong Kong Baptist University. The summit aims to provide a dynamic forum for exchange of insights, and then explanatory approaches and innovative research in the realm of virtual exchange. It aims to foster collaboration and share knowledge amongst dedicated educators, practitioners, and administrators worldwide who are deeply committed into enriching teaching and learning throughout the virtual exchange. Our summit this year takes place particular emphasis on the theme of empowering future leaders in an interconnected world. So my name is Mr. Wu Xing and represent the Global Virtual Exchange Organizing Committee to honorably invite our honorable guest, Dr. Ainhoa Uribe Otalora. I'm sorry if I did not pronounce your name correct because I don't know Spanish. Sorry. To share the insights on the topic of the internationalization pathways for global citizenship. Practical strategies to enhance global profile of your academic community. Dr. Uribe is a Vice Rector for Internationalization and Professor of Political Science at CEU San Pedro University in Madrid, Spain. Before we dive into the presentation, I want to remind everyone that we encourage your participation. So please feel free to submit your questions in the chat box throughout the section. We will have a dedicated Q&A segment following the keynotes. So please also take note that the section will be recorded and be uploaded to YouTube to share with more audience. Kindly mute your microphone during the section. So now, please join me in welcoming Dr. Uribe to the virtual stage. So let's give her a big hand to welcome her.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. And first of all, let me express my sincere gratitude to Hong Kong Baptist University for the kind invitation to join you as a keynote speaker today. It's both an honor, it's a pleasure to connect with such a diverse and engaged audience and to share some reflections, very practical reflections, in fact, about how we can empower our students and our communities to become true global citizens. Because in fact, global citizenship is not just a desirable trait. It is becoming an essential skill for future leaders, future professionals, future change makers, and for all of our university communities, both students, faculty, and so on. So it's very important, and we should focus on making our students more international. So for doing this, let me share with you a brief presentation. Okay, perfect. So that we can talk about internationalizing our community. And first of all, let's start with some data and global mobility trends and where will future graduates work. I would like to address the fact that according to the OECD and UNESCO, international students' mobility continues to rise. In 2023, over 6 million students studied abroad, up from just 2 million in the year 2000. And many of them are not just studying abroad, they are staying in countries like Canada or Australia. Up to 40% of international graduates transition to work visas.
Hello, Dr. Uribe. Sorry for disturb. I guess you have just your share screen because now it seems like we can see your next page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see my yeah?
Maybe you use the presentation mode, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Do you want me to stop sharing the screen so that I can start again?
Sure. Let's try.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I will try. I will try to share again the
Thank you so much. And sorry for this step.
okay.
Yes, click this one.
It is not in presentation mode. Let's see if it starts. If not, I can use a PDF. Has stopped. Let's try in a different way. I'm going to use this one.
Perfect right now. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I do not see it perfectly, but if you can see it, that's
perfect right now. Thank you. Thank you so much. You can keep going. Thank you.
Okay. But okay. You should see the global mobility trends on the screen. Is it okay?
Yes, correct. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
It's okay.
Okay,
Right.
so the idea is that the students not only move, but they also stay because they transition to work visas, and permanent residency. And in fact, the European Commission, for instance, they also report the fact that Erasmus Plus alumni, those who went on an Erasmus experience, are 50% more likely to work abroad later after this Erasmus experience than before. Graduates are increasingly launching careers abroad, mainly in some areas and sectors such as technology, healthcare, artificial intelligence, or data analytics. And the top destinations are the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Germany, Australia, Netherlands, and some hubs like Singapore, the United Arab Emirates, Ireland, or the Nordic countries. But why are students moving? There are certain pull factors and push factors. The pull factors are clear. They find better salaries, career growth, international companies, and supportive post-study work policies when they go abroad. And there are also other push factors that make them leave the country, like the youth unemployment at home, the limited opportunities, or the political instability in some countries. So it also plays a key role. So this is why we can identify some trends in certain countries. Like, for instance, in Europe, the European Union is promoting labor mobility through schemes like Erasmus Plus traineeships, also the Blue Card, the European labor market platform, the fact that it's very easy to move from one European country to the other one. So this is why in Europe, it is very normal, to move students from one place to the other. In Africa and Latin America, the drama are the high rates of brain drain. People leave, the country. However, there are also return migration politics, and the diaspora engagement programs are increasing. And also, you can be global and working locally, which is also something very important for Africa and Latin America. In Asia, countries like China or India are major centers of international students abroad, but they are also increasingly being much more attractive as career destination for returning. So what is very important, and this is what you should keep in mind, is the fact that we've got a different generation in front. The Gen Z generation, the Generation Z, is the most mobile generation in history. Over 60% of university students are open to relocating internationally to find a job, which means that universities have to be ready for this. We have to be ready to form them so that they are global workers, global leaders, and global citizens. So it's not a question of that you want to be more international. It's the question that you must be more international. It's a must. That's the question. It's not a will, it's a must. So let's start from the beginning about how we define, being international or not. Are we ready to help them be global workers and global leaders? The key question is how we define a global citizen. As a political scientist, I could offer a very, very long explanation, but let's keep it very simple. I'm not going to talk about the idea of citizenship. Let's go straight to the point. In ancient Greece, a citizen was a person that belonged to the polis, to the city-state, to the place that he or she was living. But today, by extension, we could say that a global citizen would be a person who belongs to the world, that lives in the world and has to be part of this world. But just the beginning, because living in a globalized world doesn't automatically make us global citizens. We all know people that resist and hate foreign cultures, foreign people, foreign languages, and even foreign cuisine. So being global is different from being, a truly global citizen. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, a global citizen is someone who shows loyalty and support for the world as a whole, not just their own country. Is it loyalty and support enough? I do not think so. In fact, the United Nations define global citizen as the belief that individuals are part of multiple interconnected communities, local and global communities. It's about embracing our social responsibility and about acting for the benefit of all societies, not just for our own. Global citizens are agents of change. They are not just people who support the world per se. They have to challenge injustice situations. They have to promote sustainability. They have to work towards a better world. So the idea is embedded in the Sustainable Development Goals. It is in fact related to the SDG 4, which promotes inclusive quality education and lifelong learning, including global citizenship as a key target. So having the concept clear, it's time to start about defining our international project. So let's go ahead. The key question is, how do we do it? How can we foster global citizenship? What is important is that you know that it's a mindset. It's not a question of geography. It's not a question of traveling. It's a question of thinking in an international way. So to build global citizens, we must help students become, first of all, open-minded. This is very important. They have to be aware of multicultural nature of society. They have to be aware of the respect, the need of respecting others, the need of being curious about other people, with different perspective. But they also have to be generous. That's the second pillar. They have to be socially responsible, committed to contributing to the common good. It's very, very important. So it's not an easy task. But so this is why I would like to share with you some special practices from CEU San Pablo University and CEU educational group that I belong to in Spain. Spain is a dream destination, for everyone. Many would like to come to Spain for tourism, for professional exchange, and so on. But what does it mean, being international? Is it just traveling, going to Spain, for instance? Not necessarily. What happens if a student can't afford going abroad? What happens if they have family or work obligation? Does it mean that they are not global? Not really. So being global is not about geography. It's about a mindset. So you can be international in very, very different way. And thus this presentation is going to be about how universities can empower students to become true global citizens without the need of going abroad. You can do it even from home. So I will talk about strategies for going abroad, but also what you can do here in your campus at home, at local level. You can do many, many different ways. So I will talk about 3 different practices. First of all will be internationalization at home, which is going to foster the diversity in your campuses. Also, the second pillar is going to be internationalization abroad, which will imply mobility agreements, but not only, it will also have to do with networking, with partnership, and also with quality and global rankings. And the third one is going to be about the promotion of values. So if we combine the 3 pillars, universities can provide students with the skills, the mindset, and the opportunities that they need to contribute meaningfully to this interconnected global world. But what is also very important is to talk about which are the core future skills of university students. So first of all, we have to think about these core future skills, and then we will design our strategy. What we know is that the companies, they need people who have a multidimensional skill set. I mean, they have to be technical fluent. They need metacognitive strengths, emotional intelligence. They need to develop certain skills, which I have classified into 6 different type or core skills, which are digital and artificial intelligence fluency, technical and STEAM competence, global and interconnected competence, soft skills, emotional intelligence, leadership, critical thinking, problem solving, and also adaptability and lifelong learning, because they will need, in fact, resilience. It's going to be vital, as 40-50% of the jobs will evolve quite a lot, and you will need to reskill, upskill yourself to try to have a job in the future. So this is why my presentation, the key presentation, is going to be about those key 3 pillars, and I will also talk about where do you find the inspiration and what happens with the management and the budget, which is also crucial. Let's start with the first pillar, with internationalization at home, which is something that we normally do not talk about it, but it's crucial, it's critical, because it's like the low-cost way of starting. You do not need to have a lot of money, to do it. So let's think locally so that you can be global. So first of all, curriculum innovation. You do not need to design from the very beginning all your academic programs. What you need is to add some new ingredients. You need
Dr.
to
Uribe, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry for
Yes.
disturbing again. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm just want to make sure if you are share the screen, because the screen now is stopped in one page, and therefore maybe you lock the screen, and therefore we cannot see another PowerPoint slides.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
can you adjust a little bit so that we can see your shared screen with the PowerPoint?
Okay. Let's see if it works
Yes,
now.
because the PowerPoint doesn't move.
Okay. Is it
Yes, but please put it in full screen so that we can
okay.
see it clearly. Sorry for disturb.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, sometimes we got.
I will use, I'm going to use a PDF, which I think that is going to be better. Do you see the 3 pillars of internationalization on the screen?
Sure, we can see it as well. Thank you. So you can keep going ahead for this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank
So
you.
the first idea is curriculum innovation. So what you have to do is to design international learning outcomes across all degree programs to ensure students develop global competences. How can you do it? Yes, integrate global themes, global issues into the different courses that you have. You do not need to change the courses. Just introduce topics like climate change, inequality, human rights, global health, digital ethics. Offer interdisciplinary programs also as well on global studies, development, peace building, or simply incorporate ethical dilemmas, case studies, or role plays. Make the professors integrate all those issues that require students to apply critical systems of thinking and global perspectives. So introduce in the existing curriculum some ethical dilemmas, case studies, or global themes that will make them be much more conscient about what happens, what happens abroad. Also try to incorporate professional language training. In our case, it was very useful to incorporate from, quite a long time ago, about 20 years ago, we incorporated some professional language skills, in the different degrees. And you can even go forward and offer academic programs full in English, or full in French, or full in Spanish, or even some pathways, so that they can choose some elective, subjects of languages. And this is also very useful for them. But not only curricular innovation and languages are crucial, faculty collaboration as well. You do not need to change, these academic programs. You can make your professors to try to be much more international and invite international guest speakers to their lectures. To have visiting professors that may enrich, the academic experience, no matter if it is in a regular course, if it has to do with a summer or winter university, the idea is to invite people from other countries to try to enrich what you are teaching. Also, you can develop collaborative innovation projects with global partners, such as mirror lectures, because, for instance, mirror lectures allow, the academics from 2 different countries to teach a similar subject, to share teaching experience, and to connect the classrooms. You can go ahead, and try to develop a collaborative online international learning program, like a COEL, in which students from 2 universities in different countries, they share a challenge or a case study. They do it under the supervision or support of a professor, and they work in a cooperative way. They even may include other actors. For instance, at my university, we also include NGOs in this process, or some companies, or some business, whether public or private, no matter who they are. The key question is that they work on real challenges, for instance, provided by a company that has a problem that they want to find a solution. So the students from those two institutions, two universities, they connect each other to try to solve this dilemma. And you can also try to do it with 3 countries, which is the case of the blended intensive programs in Europe. They are financed by the European Commission, but you do not need to do it with finance, And in this case, it is hybrid. It has an online component and a present component, in-person component. The duration is about 3 European credits, which is 30 hours, but it can be shorter. I mean, you can do it in much more casual way or informal way. The idea is to connect transversal disciplines, to connect students from different levels, and to connect people from different backgrounds. That's a key core of the idea. So fostering this interdisciplinary thinking, multicultural awareness, and teamwork in international context is very valuable, and it does not mean that you travel. You can be international without traveling. Of course, apart from this curricular innovation, languages, or faculty collaboration, we can talk about the students' crew and the multicultural campus. You have to transform your campus into an international hub involving more than academics. So welcome international students, allow them to come to your institutions, and provide them tailored services. For instance, the first thing that we do every day in Madrid at my university is we translate the cafeteria menu, the canteen menu. We offer bilingual menus. This is a very simple and easy thing, and you make people to feel at home. It's like a friendly campus in which you can ask, or you can see what you want to do it. So bilingual menus, multilingual support, sport activities, cultural orientation, tutoring, and inclusive campus, for the international students is key, because it's going to change, and transform your campus into an inclusive campus life. Also, empowering students through the process of encouraging them to create student clubs is very important. Students learn as much from each other as from formal institutions, like the kids. The kids learn more from the brothers or the friends, the peers, rather than the professor sometimes or the family. So this is why it's important to foster the creation of those students' club. We've got clubs, very different clubs at our university: debate clubs, sports club, fashion club, but also an international club. It's a space where students from different degrees, different nationalities connect and collaborate, or they simply exchange languages. They want to chat with other people. They want to practice the language, the best way to learn it. Okay, so this is why you should think about it. And apart from this first pillar, from internationalization at home, you have to think about the second pillar, which is internationalization abroad. In this case, the traditional action and the traditional policy has been based on mobility. Of course, you can offer Erasmus+, bilateral exchange programs, mobility programs, but you can even go further and try to create some and develop some joint ventures, double degrees, international certificates, both in person or online. Try to find partners to do this. At my institution, we offer more than 2,300 international placements abroad, thanks to the 400 agreements that we have with many institutions. And we have also created 45 joint ventures based on certificates, bachelor's, master level. They are mainly in the United States and in Europe, but we also collaborate with institutions in Asia, in Australia, in New Zealand, and even in Africa. It's very important that you find the right partnership, and depending on the partner, you can develop different programs, both online or in person. It depends on the partner. You can find a way to do it, so just look for this. And of course, partnerships and networking means visibility. You have to be present in international forums, conferences, and academic networks. It's very important to be there because it can enhance your brand among peers, and it can enhance your visibility worldwide. These platforms provide direct access to institutional partners for joint research projects, for student and faculty exchange, for double degrees, for international programs, and for many other collaborative projects that discover what you can do going abroad, meeting people in different fairs and events, and learning from them. But also, be very concerned about the fact that quality comes first. So when aiming to expand your international network, it becomes essential to clearly communicate who you are, where you are, what you do. So institutions, families, and students, they need to trust you. And the best way to trust you is to go through official accreditations, external evaluations, and rankings. Try to show families why they are choosing you, the different partners, why they should collaborate with you, and why being a recognized university means quality, and it means excellency. And this is why it's important that you show proof of it. So our commitment to excellence is validated by international accredited quality seals. And this is where the focus has to be on, okay? It's not only developing action, it's also trying to show proof of the fact that what you are doing is something that is very well done, okay? Of course, the third pillar are values. I mean, global citizenship is not only about knowledge and skills, it's also about values. Promoting values-based education globally can be achieved through different actions like volunteering, for instance, or social impact activities. They can be both developed nationally or internationally. You can do them at home in your campus, or you can try to do something abroad. At national level, this could involve awareness campaigns, fundraisings for humanitarian causes, introducing those topics in a COIL, in a BIP, I mean, in a mirror lecture, in your classes, try to introduce this justice initiative and social problems, so that you can develop different actions at home. And in fact, we also try to do it abroad. We've got a very strong program of cooperation in Africa and Sierra Leone at my institution. But before going abroad, we started locally. I mean, locally was the first way to start. We have also launched some programs, for instance, to help Ukrainians that have left, those Ukrainians that had to leave the country after the invasion of Russia. And we offer them Spanish language courses. It was very easy to try to create a volunteer crew of people teaching Spanish, to the people that were coming from Ukraine. It was the best way to support them and to offer them access to education and employment. If you do not speak one language, you will never find a job. So try to think about supporting, for instance, migrants, teaching your language. Students could do it, faculty could do it, they could do it for free, you could pay them. It depends on the budget that you've got, but you can start from very basic actions. Scholarships as well, you can offer them to migrants, to vulnerable people. You can offer even free access to sports facilities and well-being counseling to vulnerable groups or migrants in your countries, and the students can cooperate in those actions. So think about what you can do to give students this applied knowledge and this deeper understanding of the role that they have to play to make a sustainable world. That's the key issue. Values are very important, the social impact. And of course, when we think about the pillar 1, pillar 2, and pillar 3, sometimes we do not have ideas. So we need to find inspiration. Where can you find inspiration? Think beyond your boundaries. Think out of the box. Try to do benchmarking. Try to find external insight, external counseling. The market demands today very different skills for global employment. The employers are seeking intercultural competence, digital fluency, adaptability, multilingualism. So people need to work globally. Although they can even work locally, they need to be global. So to succeed, to find those ideas, you have to be agile, you have to be forward thinking, you have to find best examples. Benchmarking helps identify best practices from other institutions and adapt them to your context. Try to think of who you would like to look like, what would you like to be, and try to emulate some actions, that they are developing. There are institutions doing a great job, so try to think about what they are doing, do some research, and try to create your project. And of course, why not have an external advisory board? At my institution, CEU São Paulo University, we've got an international advisory board since 2014, and it was very, very useful. Their insights were very valuable. They are advising us, they advise the university leadership on a strategic direction, they monitor our progress through internationalization, they give us some ideas, they talk about the future trends, artificial intelligence, the impact, of many different issues. So it is a very good combination. Try to share with other people, from other background that is not an educational background always, what you are doing, because they know what they need. They are businessmen, for instance, they are leaders in education, in industry, in other sectors, and they know what the world needs. Try to talk to them, try to find their counseling. This is very important. And of course, last but not the least, the strategic governance, the management, and the budget. it's not a question of being rich. You do not need to be rich to be the super, super richest university, but you need to believe in internationalization. So when planning this, you need to think about the governance structure. Governance structure cannot be overlooked. Internationalization is not a spontaneous or isolated process. It has to be integrated, okay? Integrated in the university, in the strategic plan of the university. So it requires a clear strategic direction, proper coordination, and sustained financial commitment. But financing is not the most important thing. The structure is very, very important in this case. So any strategy has to be backed by decision-making structures, like try to have a vice-rector for internationalization or in an internationalization committee or global mobility offices. Try to have something that is very clear, like a place. It's not just a professor, alone. You need a structure. And then you have to support this structure by some dedicated budget for mobility programs, for partnership, for going abroad, for intercultural training, for whatever it is. But you need to assign, at least some budget. And above all, it has to be cross-cutting strategy. Try to make all the different faculties think about one specific international target that they would like to develop the next year. And then next year, try to ask them to have 2 targets, 3 targets, more targets, so that this is transversal to all of them. Define one target and try to go to delve into it from different perspectives in different faculties. And then you will be more and more and more and more, international. It's a question, it's a process. So strategy, structures, and resource allocation are very important. This is something that you have to have in mind. So in conclusion, offering a global education to our students means to develop a set of purposes, a set of approaches that has been intentionally created to provide them with opportunities to be a global citizen. They have to understand the world, they have to work for the best of it, they need global competences, and you need to define and to design how to integrate those global competences into the curriculum of the students. It has to be part of their education. It's not something that is an extracurricular activity that if they choose it, it's okay, and if they do not choose it, it's also okay. No, it has to be integrated. That's the key question. So it will also provide them a foundation for lifelong learning and for global understanding, okay? So in a world that is increasingly interconnected and increasingly challenged, we need graduates who are not only a skilled professional, they have to be empathetic leaders, they have to be critical thinkers, but they also have to be global, international, multicultural, open-minded citizens. So combining these inclusive academic partnerships with global learning objectives, with recognized standards, with languages, you can equip students with the mindset and the tools to thrive and make a difference. Without the need of traveling, that's very important. You do not always need to travel. Try to do it at home. Think about doing something at home. So the need to adapt and to understand and live and work with people from other countries and backgrounds should be integrated in our academic proposal. Higher education is a turning point in life of every student. It is a turning point. So today, there is no other alternative. Higher education means higher global education. You have to be global. That's the way to be. There is no other option. So thank you very much to all of you. And of course, if there is any question, whatever you may want to ask me, I would be very happy to answer your comments.
Hello, me again. So can you hear me? Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation, Dr. Uribe. So the presentation is really enlightening, and we learned a lot. At least I guess our university need to learn, especially for the integration of the academic department and also the office is really important. So we appreciate your time and expertise. Thank you so much. Okay. So now we are opening the floor for questions in the next coming 15 minutes maybe. So please feel free to propose your questions. If you wish to propose your questions directly, please raise your virtual hand by clicking the hand icon, and you'll be invited to share your questions shortly. Or you may type your questions in the chat, and I will invite our keynote speaker to respond to you. And also we got questions from the floor. So Wait.
All right. Thank you very much for your presentation, Professor Otalora. I like your idea of the three pillars, and certainly virtual exchange at home or globalization at home is an effort that we need to involve many colleagues from different sectors. I'm wondering whether your university has any infrastructure in terms of staff training, and also what factors of motivation do you have to encourage staff to be involved in internationalization at home initiatives? Because based on my experience, if you engage with a virtual exchange partner, it will add to your normal teaching load by at least 20%. So at least from my institution, one common problem is people are not generally motivated to take up a task like this. So yeah, so my question is, how do we motivate staff to get involved in this practice? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for your question. In fact, it is a very important question, because this is something that I also questioned myself, when I started. I will tell you something, it's something personal, in the sense that when I started working at the Vice Rector for Internationalization, then a few weeks later, COVID-19, took place, which means that we were locked at home. And imagine that you have to foster internationalization, but you cannot send anyone abroad. That was my main concern. So everything that I was going to do was going to be a failure due to the fact that the context was not the right context. So then I thought, if I cannot go abroad, if I cannot send students or faculty abroad, but I need to do a good job, I need to think out of the box. I need to do something else. So then I decided, I was exploring, and then I found this strategy of internationalization at home. And then what I did at that time, I did not have money at all. So this is what it may happen to some of you. You have no infrastructure, you have no money, you have nothing. I had nothing except me, myself, wanted to do something. So then I decided to follow a course. I did a training, of a university in the United States about how to do COI. It was just a 1-week course. You can follow different webinars, courses, and so on, and then you learn how to do it. And then I decided to offer myself as a trainer. I was vice rector, but I decided to offer myself as a trainer to the professors that wanted to learn and wanted to do something at home when we were locked during the COVID-19 time. For doing this, I decided that as there were going to be a lot of people that would complain and they would not like to do it, I decided to choose, first of all, the professors that were much more innovative, or the ones that were much more international, or the ones that were much more technological, And then I sent direct emails to them. I made the list, of the professors, and I sent an email to them asking them, would you like to join a course that I'm going to give for free? It's going to be a very basic training, a few hours. I will explain you very basically what is this project about. And then if you like it, I will give you a training that will imply more hours. So the first idea was simply try to connect them, to explain the project. I made a list of about 150 people approximately, and they joined this initial meeting. Then out of these 150, 70 people decided to go ahead and to join me and to go through this process in which I gave them the basic training of about 8-10 hours. I was trying to solve them. At the beginning, it was like there were like main meetings, and then later I was doing some face-to-face, meetings with depending on the faculties, so that we were much more adjusting the topics. And then I told them I will help you to find a partner. Then I started sending emails to the different partners that I knew that could be doing something online. And then I was offering different professors that would like to do this action so what I was asking my professor was, just give me a very brief explanation of the project, your subject, and the days that you would like to connect. And I will try to move this basic information around and find a partner. So in the end, when we started the project, it was the year 2020, 2021, we started with 20 COIL projects, so it was very basic. But today we are developing around 60 projects. And related to the factors of motivation, what I explained to them is that it is a question of innovation. So what I was telling to them is that, do you want to be recognized internally as a professor devoted to excellence and teaching innovation? Most of them would say yes. So at the very beginning, as I had no budget, what I was doing is simply, you can give them a diploma, a ceremony, you can clap professors in a public way so that they are recognized by the community as innovative, as excellent, as something that they are doing something different. Because at that time, excellency, and even it is something that happens in most of the institutions, excellency is based on research. But there are very good professors, that they are not always very good researchers, but they are very good with connecting the students. They are very close to the students. They do things in a very practical way. They are helping the students, so those student-oriented professors, they were going to be recognized for the first time by the community. This is crucial and this is important. This was the first step, okay? So this is something that is not going to cost you any money, because if you have one or two people with the basic training, they can train, you can be a trainer of trainees, and then you can be training people. Today we do it, even train other universities. So if you want to get some training, our institution could train your professors. We can do it because now we're professionals of training. But at the beginning, I started me myself at home, in my office, with my kids around. This is how everything started. After this process of recognition, in which it is an informal recognition of this excellence and this innovation, then I asked the director or the manager to go a step forward and to give them a bonus. So those projects that were very well qualified, because we make some surveys to the students, that were very well qualified, that offered something new, that were different, you can get a bonus, you can be paid by this at the end of the year. Once we've got all the different projects, we qualify them, and even there is an award for the best one. One is getting one award, like one special, recognition, and the other ones, they are getting a fee, like a bonus, for doing this. But it was something that we did 2 or 3 years after paying it, okay? And you do not always get paid. When you are paid, it's because you are doing a very good project that the students love, okay? So it means that there is an extra motivation because you know that you can be paid. But at the beginning, it was simply just being recognized by the community. Think about it. Think about giving a clap, an applause to your professors. Everyone loves it. And also then we have organized some events in which they share with the colleagues, with the peers, what they are doing. They are explaining the best practices so that it's multiplying, it's a multiplying factor. And all the professors, they also want to be part of the system. And then we organize like coffees for explaining this and so on. And it's expanding in a natural way. So let's start from the very beginning, and then step by step, you will expand it and multiply the effect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Vicky. I'm also here based in Hong Kong next to Emma. I wanted to ask about any record of very successful COIL or virtual exchange programs that you have run where you've been able to directly implement some of these strategies that you've spoken about in terms of these 3 different pillars of internalization. I may have missed that necessarily in your presentation, but if you can elaborate a little bit and let us know of any successful cases which we could maybe emulate and reflect on in the future.
Yeah. We've got different COIL activities, and the idea is that you can do it individually, related to your subject, or you can even do it at faculty level. We have some projects developed individually. For instance, I do it in my subject. I teach international relations, and then what I do is I always try to find something that is very appealing for the students. So I ask them a question, and for instance, my question is, would you buy, or next Christmas, would you like the newest iPhone or the newest device, electronic device. And then I talked to them about ethics and business and the fact that sometimes, we do not get the minerals, the cassiterite or the coltan for these electronic devices in the most ethical way. So we discuss about reusing those items and so on. So it's a question of ethics. And this is something that is very appealing because all of them are, tied to their like drug addicts, to their devices. And then it's something that they are really interested in, so you can try to find the topic that is connecting your subject, but connecting something that they understand. And this type of questions that they are really like challenges for them, they have been working very well. And we also have one project that I would really like to explain to you, which is a project that was done at faculty level. The whole faculty doing the same coil. That's amazing. This is an idea that some of our professors had, and it has been replicated later in other projects. So we even have some European projects financed by the European Commission, and we are expanding it in such an amazing way that it is much more than a coil. In this case, they were asking the students to think about the future of their profession. So this is why all of them wanted to find a job, and all of them wanted to work on the future of themselves. And the idea was they were challenging the students to talk to professionals, to find them on different websites, and to find professionals and to arrange an interview, an appointment with them. They were doing it in different groups with the students from the United Kingdom, from Italy, so because we were connecting with all the universities. As it was at faculty level, I had to find many different universities to connect all the professors that were doing this with the class. And the class students, not in the classroom, but during their breaks and in different times, they had to interview 2, 3, 4, 5 professionals and to ask them what they would recommend for them once they finish the degree. And then once all of them had the different, comments and advices from these professionals, they were sharing in a final congress. So the students were doing a final congress talking about the different options that they had for the future. And it was amazing, the result, how even businessmen, and companies were attending this event to see what the students were saying about it. And the students were really following the colleagues, their peers, because they were discovering different options for the future. So this is, for instance, a coil that started, at the very basic level in a class, and then it has expanded because it is transversal. We did it at the pharmaceutical sector, but now we're doing it in other disciplines. We're doing it for nutrition, for psychology, for pharmacy, different disciplines across different countries with different partners, because it is very easy to do it. And you can always, from your different subjects, recommend to your students different profiles of people that they can interview. So this has been a very successful way, of trying to talk about the future skills, about employability, and also about your subject, your discipline, and your course, So there are very different examples. And we also have another example that was very successful that we did incorporating disabled students to our classrooms. So we have mixed it, we did it at the Faculty of Architecture, and we mix architecture plus psychology. And we mix students from Spain and from Mexico and from other countries, and they were designing houses for disabled people. So the students of architecture, they were designing those houses. The students of psychology, they were thinking about how to expose and how to explain the design of those houses. And then disabled people were using, or checking the project. So we're working with NGOs and with real cases, with real people that were testing what the students were doing. And this is something that is very useful because it's very practical. And then after doing this idea of incorporating disabled people or vulnerable groups or real stakeholders or real people that could be benefited by the project have been introduced in other COIL projects. So in the final presentation of the students, we invite external actors to check what they have been doing. It depends on which type of project they are developing. So you can do it in very different ways. But the key idea is that, first of all, you have to try to have a very good project. And if it is a very good project and it has worked very well, it's like a pilot project and it works very well with one professor, one partner, and 20 students, you can expand it. And those that do not work very well, you do not expand them, you try to rethink about them, okay? So some of them are very transversal, and you can, multiply, the exposure to those COIL projects in other faculties. And those ones are the ones that we consider as best practices, and we share them in different coffee, meetings, lunch, for chatting it with our professors. And then we find people that really love this example, and they think that they can adapt it to their course, their subject, or their faculty. So this is how we work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your insightful response. May I ask for the floor or in the virtual audience, do we have any other questions? Since the time is also running short. If not, so thanks again for Dr. Uribe for her insightful presentation and also a very fruitful experience sharing. So if you'd like to have a more discussion or exchange, so please use our platform of the Padlet in order to match and see whether we have any chance for the collaboration. So thanks a lot. May we give a big hand to Dr. Uribe. So thank you so much. Okay, and also I'd like to thank you all audience for your active participation.